Hello everybody, welcome to the Trendaholic YouTube channel. This is the Charles West Show. I just wanted to touch quickly on the unfortunate happenings going on right now in Ferguson County in the St. Louis area of Missouri. If you don't know, if you've been living under a rock or you haven't really been paying attention to the computer or paying attention to your local news or national news, well, there's been, protests and unrest happening in that town over the unfortunate and senseless death of another young African American male by the name of Mike Brown over the weekend over really nothing. It's gotten to the point now where it's become commonplace for us to hear about it in the media, hear about it or read about it in the news on the internet about another unarmed, non-threatening black male being gunned down by law enforcement that's supposed to protect us. If you live in this, alternate universe or this small bubble and you're ignorant enough to believe that we live in this post-racial society, then, I would say to you, your brain is broken. Things like this that continuously happen, it's very apparent that we still have a racial problem in this country. And a lot of this stuff, we went through back in the 60s. I talked to my grandmother about it all the time and what they went through in that era. And a lot of the stuff that seems to continue to happen today is reminiscent of what they went through in the 60s. And, I give you an example. The stop and frisk law out in New York City was deemed unconstitutional by their own circuit judge. You can't just go randomly pulling over black people or people of color and just search them randomly, just because. And this is what continues to happen, whether it's over here on the north side, on the east side, or whether it's on the south, or whether it's on the west coast. It happens everywhere. It happens all over this country. And we really, really, really need to look ourselves in the mirror and get our shit together if we want to be looked at as a world leader and get that same stature we used to once have back in the day. Because right now we don't look like that. And right now we aren't that country that leads the way or is known for leading the way. That is a figment of our imaginations today. That is a thing of the past. Just to ping on that as well, there's layers to what this country is going through, as far as the over militarization that's happening in Ferguson right now, where they got troops out there and tanks and no-fly zones, and it's really ridiculous. It's where we are now after the post 9/11 era. This is where we are now, where we beef up troops and we ask questions later. We spy on Americans illegally. Who cares if it's unconstitutional or if it's a breach of Americans' privacy? Who cares? We're the government. We do whatever we want to do. We're oppressing our media now. We're telling them what they can cover and what they can't cover. I mean, in Ferguson, they've literally told their local news not to cover it. Go home. Not to cover what's happening. And they're arresting, reportedly arresting members of the press from the Huffington Post, from Washington Post, and it's disgusting. Now, I just want to quickly address some of the people I've talked to, some of my peers that I talked to, about my position on what I think President Obama could do within his reach, within his power. Now, I'm not one of these radical African American men or people that think that Obama needs to do this and he needs to storm in with troops and wave the hand of the law in support of black people. No, I'm not one of these people. I'm not one of those guys, so don't classify me as that. What I'm saying, and what I have been saying to my peers and to you guys now, is that President Obama needs to do more than write a cliche, same old, boilerplate template statement for every death of a young, unarmed African American that happens in this country. He's become a typical cliched president to me. It's the same old thing. And he knows what's happening. Of course he knows what's happening. I don't want to hear the same excuses that I used to hear about Obama back in his first term. about, well, he can't speak up. Well, he can't do this. Well, he can't do that. He can't be looked at as biased toward, everyone else and show favoritism toward black people because he's black and blah, blah, blah. All these excuses. Stop being Obama apologists. The fact is this. Obama has, the power of the bully pulpit, which is basically him talking to the nation, and he needs to just come out and he needs to tell these guys, look, tell these law enforcement across the country, look, you got to back up. You can't be, illegally or unconstitutionally, picking out segments of races. He has to strike a tone. If it can't be him, then who? He has to strike a tone. I don't want to hear this notion that it could be damaging to his political career, or what I heard, political suicide. How, those excuses are out the window. This is his second term. He's in the middle of his second term. After this, there's nowhere else he can go. Once you reach the pinnacle, which is the President of the United States, that office, and you serve 2 terms, your political career is over. There's no more politics for you. Yeah, you could be a lobbyist. Yeah, you can work for the private sector after that. Well, but 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to just, do public speeches. That's what every former president does. They do public speeches and they get paid for it very well. Ask Bill Clinton. We have to stop making excuses for Obama. Every time I get very agitated by the excuses that people come up for this guy. He needs to speak up about this issue. Whether he's black or not. He's the President of the United States. He needs to speak about what's wrong. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And he needs to bring it to a grander stage in front of the rest of the American people and just speak the truth and be honest about it. That's all I'm saying. Just be honest about it and try to educate Americans on what not to do and why we should be better than what we have been showing in the past. So that's all I'm saying to him. I don't care if he's black. I don't care if he's white. He's the President of the United States. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Period. Well, that's all I have for this show. I just wanted to touch quickly on the whole Ferguson County situation down in Missouri with the unfortunate death of another African-American male, Mike Brown. I just wanted to hear your comments and what you think about how this whole thing is being handled. How, and just open up about it. But be intelligent about it. Please be well informed of what's actually happening in the Mike Brown situation. And if you are, I invite you to leave comments down in the comment section below. We can all have a discussion about it. And yeah, let's have some common ground.